is a dialogue between the host and the listeners about their relationships. This show is not an attempt to assess, diagnose, or treat any mental health or illness condition. Please consult your physician, psychiatrist, or psychotherapist for personal matters.
Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inner Voice Show. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine, and I have Sean in studio. This show is about what matters most in life, our minds, thoughts, feelings, actions, and the way that we impact the world, our relationships, and the way our actions actually do influence the way that we are in the world and the impact that we put in. And the way that we can create something in our life so that we can be fulfilled in the way that we are in this beautiful journey of life. In this show, I will actually be talking a lot more about violence. I'm going to bring you the latest research from Stanford University and Duke University, and we'll be talking to Dr. Farideh Kioumehr, that she is going to talk to you about her latest projects in about violence and her organization. And we're going to get to talk to her. We'd love to hear from you. You can call us anytime during the show, 951-922-3532, if you would like to talk about violence while we're talking about that too, Dr. Kioumehr. If not, you can always call us at the late part of the show, about 3:45, and ask about any other questions that you have. We'll love to hear from you. And remember that if you wanted to consult with me, I do a lot of online therapy and online coaching from everywhere around the world, and I'm loving it. And I'd love to connect with all of you to talk about what matters most to you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back from the latest research.
Foojan Zeine is a psychotherapist, a marriage and family therapist, and a life coach with more than 27 years of experience. She is the author of the Awareness Integration Model, which has been researched and published in numerous international journals. Dr. Foojan has offices in Beverly Hills, Irvine, and Woodland Hills, California, and also consults online and by telephone. Make an appointment with her today by calling 818-648-2140 or go online to www.foojan.com. That's www.foojan.com.
Join the conversation every Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific for Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Dr. Foojan has a direct approach to getting you to free your mind. Inner Voice is a live call-in show where you can chat about your life and all that matters to you in your relationships. Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan, Monday afternoons at 3 p.m. Pacific on Smart Talk, KMET 1490 AM, and on the Internet stream.
Let me tell you about the latest research that came out about violence. A consensus is growing in the research, in the recent research, evaluating the impact of right to carry, concealed handgun laws, showing that they increase violent crime, despite what older researchers say. Now, researchers from Stanford and Duke University examined recent studies on the causes of gun violence in the United States in an effort to find consensus in a body of research that often covers different states or different times, making conclusions kind of difficult to draw. Now, the analysis by John Donahue, a professor of law at Stanford University, and Philip Cook at Duke University, which was published in December 7th, and the analysis was actually done in the Science Reports and from Stanford. It says that the emerging consensus in these studies among the findings was that lifting restrictions on concealed carry guns increases violent crime and that laws restricting gun ownership for people convicted of domestic violence reduced killing of female domestic partners. The authors hope that their work can help guide policymakers who are debating measures to reduce gun violence. Now, the level of gun violence in the United States places it as an outlier among developed countries in 2015. Over 36,000 people died from gunfire, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, with roughly two-thirds of those deaths being classified as suicide. Americans' gun murder rate is 25 times that of the other high-income nations, and the gun suicide rate is 8 times as high. Despite these numbers, the last extensive analysis of research into the origins of gun violence conducted in 2004 was inconclusive. Now, concealed carry increases violent crime. In the mid-1970s, all but 5 states that banned or severely limited concealed carry of firearms. But by 2014, all states except 8 passed right to carry laws, which eased those restrictions. Understanding how that change affected crime has been challenging. However, because of the fluctuating nature of crime, if a gun regulation is most likely to be enacted in jurisdictions that have recently experienced a surge in gun violence, and if that surge is temporary, the result will be that implementation of the new measures is followed by a drop in crime, giving the false appearance that it was effective. Now, during the crack cocaine epidemic of the late 1980s and the early 1990s, right to carry laws were adopted more often in states that had less of a crack problem. That's interesting. This means that any analysis of right to carry laws during those periods will show those laws as beneficial. Now, this problem has plagued every panel data analysis of the right to carry laws, except for those that started after the impact of crack that had fully dissipated by the late 1990s and early 2000s. The researchers wrote, by analyzing studies from after that time period, as well as recent research relying on new statistical techniques for assessing the impact of legal changes, the pair found that emerging consensus that deregulating concealed carry restrictions increases violent crime. So they found that deregulating concealed carry restrictions increases violent crime. Now, domestic violence also got harsher sentencing. The researchers also analyzed studies exploring the effects of an amendment of the Gun Control Act of 1968 and added on sentencing laws adopted by a number of states during the 1970s and 80s, which added prison time to crimes committed with a gun rather than a less lethal weapon. They found that the 1996 Gun Control Act amendment that prevented people with a misdemeanor conviction for domestic violence from owning a gun reduced killings of female intimate partners. Gun murderers for that group were reduced by 17%. Another research study analyzing a nearly 40-year interval shows that harsher sentencing for crimes that involved firearms had the greatest effect on reducing aggravated robberies, decreasing them by 5%. So analyzing all of these research from 1970s till now, actually, it has shown that deregulating increases gun violence and regulating them more decreases it. Go figure. We already knew that, didn't we? All right, we're going to be back. Don't go anywhere with Dr. Farideh Kioumehr. She is the founder and executive director of the International Health and Epidemiology Research Center, and they have the initiative for peace and the innovative anti-violence campaign. So we're going to be able to talk to her. Would love to speak with you guys with your opinions and thoughts about violence. If you want to call us, 951-922-3532. And if you'd like to talk about any other subject, then pretty much wait until 3:45, and I'd love to hear from you then. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Then you need the law offices of Aria Thadakar for your free case evaluation. Don't let the medical bills pile up, and don't let the insurance companies try to settle your claim for a few $100s. Call 714-464-3246. The law offices of Aria Thadakar serves all of California. If they don't win, you don't pay. So call now, 714-464-3246. This is a paid-for attorney advertisement by the law offices of Aria Thadakar of Orange, California.
Have you ever wished you could just wake up one day, reach across your nightstand, and hit the life reset button? Let's face it, the struggles and frustrations of everyday life leave millions of women and men around the globe yearning for a new way. And the new way is right here in Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want by Dr. Foojan Zeine. You can get it now at Foojan.com or Amazon.com. Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want. You deserve it.
We miss her. We miss you wherever you are, Aretha Franklin. We're here with Dr. Farideh Kioumehr. I've had the privilege of having her on my TV shows and other places, and have really been proud that she is working so hard for something that is so important in all of our life, especially for me. Dr. Kioumehr is the founder and executive director of the International Health and Epidemiology Research Center and the Innovative Anti-Violence Campaign that identifies violence as a preventable social epidemic disease in the United States. She's a trained epidemiologist and a graduate from the University of Michigan. She served as the director of the Health Planning Department of the National Plan and Budget Organization, has taught at medical school and School for Public Health. She has authored numerous scientific papers and book chapters, and has been an invited guest speaker in many academic settings, as well as many television and radio programs, both domestically and abroad. Dr. Kioumehr has received numerous awards, including the very first Peace Award from the American Public Health Association, and has received distinctions from President Clinton, Vice President Al Gore, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and Barbara Boxer, LAUSD Board of Education, and many, many more. Welcome, Dr. Kioumehr, to my show. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Dr. Foojan, thank you so much for inviting me, and I really love your show.
Thank you.
I love the name you have. The name of your program is really good and very meaningful. It's a heartfelt chat.
Yes.
And I really like it. I don't know if you chose that name or not, but it was really wonderful. And
Thank you.
Hi to everybody, all your listeners and viewers. And yeah. I'm here.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Do we have your Skype, Fabe, on a video? I think that I don't see your video. So if you can show us, click on the video. We only have your audio, I think.
Yes, you're right.
There you go. We get to see you. So, Sean, is there a way to also have Dr. Kioumehr's beautiful face on the screen? We would love to have her with us. So, Dr. Kioumehr, tell us a little bit about the anti-violence campaign for peace that you have. I know that it's an ongoing project. Is an ongoing project of the International Health and Epidemiology Research Center, and which is a comprehensive violence prevention, and on the project that strives to eliminate mortality and morbidity in children and youth by influencing children's learned responses at an early age. So can you talk a little bit about what was your incentive to create this organization and a little bit about your projects.
Yes. Actually, the International Health and Epidemiology Research Center, which is a nonprofit organization I'm the founder of, created in 1994, about 24 years ago. And the reason I started that to research and to study all forms of epidemic diseases, whereas epidemic diseases can be infectious disease, can be chronic disease, or can be social epidemic disease. And ironically, my doctorate thesis was in influenza, which is infectious disease. It's nothing to do with violence. But when I started this project, especially in California at that time, I found out through research that we have more children and people killed by gun and gun violence than many diseases combined. Yes. So I thought instead of going toward that other direction, I start working with violence, which is really killing our people and especially kids. And it was number one killer in kids in California at that time, which later on I would explain that it's right now we are one of the best among other states in the US.
Thank you.
And of course, it's not really, I don't want to say that's all my work or our work. I'm sure that lots of other organizations working tirelessly to address this, epidemic. And that's why, everybody is involved in this work. But when I started that, I want to say as epidemiologist, I believe in prevention more than treatment. And especially with gun violence, with violence in general and gun violence, there is no treatment most of the time because usually the outcome of somebody being shot or shot themselves is usually death. Right. And normally they don't stay alive, and if they do, they are usually damaged and injured very badly, and sometimes to the rest of their life they have to be in either paralyzed or in a hospital. So we believe very much as epidemiologists, I believe an ounce of prevention is much better than tons of cure, which is, everybody knows that this is a important sentence. And in violence, as I said, we believe, as you mentioned, is the very deadly social epidemic disease. And if we don't prevent it now, it's going to destroy our future and our world. There is no doubt about it, the way we go. And I believe violence is just like other things. It's contagious. As I said, we believe violence is a disease. We look at it as a disease when trying to attack it or, work with it as a disease. So when we say violence is contagious, it is contagious. It's just like love is contagious, hate is contagious. This is just like other disease that we have to really tackle it.
Well, it seems like the ultimate goal of the anti-violence campaign for peace is to create a healthier and violence-free society and peaceful world for the future generations. Now, violence itself is definitely treatable. The conversation that you were having is when the violence is with weapons, with something that just kills, then the treatment of the anger, treating anger issues is very different than having a vehicle in someone's hand that is angry to be able to destroy a person, or even accidents that happen that are not necessarily even due to anger, but they're due to accidents, which you can't return the person, unfortunately. So there's a distinction between, because I hear a lot that people say, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, yes, and there is a person that does the killing. There's a person who cannot handle their anger and does not know how to take care of their anger and their emotions in a way that would be more constructive versus destructive. However, if there is a person who at that point in their life are becoming more destructive, when we also allow them to have access to a destructive vehicle, then they utilize that vehicle, such as gun, in order to create more of a destruction. So as a society, we're also, in a way, responsible in what we create, so that people who are not necessarily clear with their mental health, or they don't have all the skills yet into how to handle their anger, not to have a free access, so that they will damage their family members and their society in a way that is not retractable.
Yes, I hear that all the time, saying people don't, gun don't kill people, people kill people, which is not true, because actually people with gun can kill other people. People without gun, they can, throw a punch, or they can be angry, or even slap somebody in the face. They're not going to kill them. They're not going to really destroy their life. This is a myth that they are talking about, and I do not agree, and I'm sure that most of your listeners and viewers would agree with that too. And we believe that if a society which is violence, it cannot be healthy. A violent society is not a healthy society. So we are looking at it as a public health point of view. Whatever the reason I even chose this, as I said, among all other diseases we have, infectious, chronic, which is killing a lot of people too, because this is what we are facing right now. If we had only guns in their home, that people like to have it, because of their Second Amendment, I do agree with that. They can have it if they want to. If we didn't have all these bad statistics, which would make any human being, parents, trembling. When we are sending our children to school, the parents, I've heard from many of them, they said, when I send my daughter or son to school, I'm not sure if they come back. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if my son have gone to shop, buy something, or have gone to listen to music, to movie theater, to place to pray. They don't know if their kids or themselves or their spouse or the friend come back. Yes. This is where we're coming from. It's completely different. If we had, few, just like any other disease, killing some, human being, maybe it could be acceptable. But what we have here is, Dr. Foojan, is very unexpected. It's not, as you mentioned in your statistic, when we have 25 times, US alone, having the death rate by gun, more than 16 times more than 25 industrial war. This is where we have to wake up. This is where we have to really get shake up. This is where we have to say enough is enough. Where are we going? Why we are like that? I tell you another statistic that would really shake everybody, as I think I mentioned it in our other show. Since 2000, year 2000, which is not too long ago, 18 years ago, we have over 500,000, above 500,000 people died in this country by gun. So when we are talking about this is worse than many other diseases we are speaking about. So that's where we have to come in. That translates, 2016, the last statistic you mentioned some statistics, every year it's increasing. It's increasing like crazy. Like 2016, we had 38,659, according to CDC, Center for Disease Control, having so many people, innocent people, lose their life so early. More than 20 kids would either be shot at or killed by gun every day. Where are we going? Why are we being like that? When we say 38,650, whatever, translate or divided by 365 days, just very simple math. Divided by 365 days, that comes like 105 a day.
Wow.
105 person a day dying in this country because of gun, because of one simple gun. That's why that's why we started this, campaign and believing in it.
And that's not even mass shootings. Is it just on the streets, right?
General, it is included, but
okay.
I'm saying in general, when we have so many people killed in 1 year.
Right.
In 1 year. That's a lot. Now, we go back and see, for instance, let me just compare something that you would be shocked again. When we have 38,000 something killed in 1 year, compared with the Vietnam War, that was very infamous, that was very shocking. Everybody, all the world were against it. It was something that everybody knows about. We had 68,000 for 8 years war. They were in war 8 years. Over 8 years, we had 68,000 soldiers lost their life. But you're talking about 38,000 something, close to 39,000 civilian people in the country which supposedly we don't have any war. So
yeah, and that's the war. I mean, I know that when people go to war, they're going after making sure that they're protecting themselves. And if it comes to a space where they have to protect each other, they're going for war. It's called a war. So there's some expectation about some fatalities that are going to happen. And there's expectation that weapons are going to be used in order to kill and to wound or to destroy the other side. But what you're saying with the statistics that are here every day of hundreds some people getting killed by guns, this is under the illusion that we live in a safe environment and we need to live in a safe environment and that we're doing everything as a society to keep ourselves safe. So even we're not expecting it. We're not looking for it. We're not waiting for it to be killed. We're just living in a society the same way that people go into concerts or go somewhere, or the children are going to school, just going to school every day. And then suddenly they have to face that they're no longer safe. So to feel like you're living in a war zone every day, it's really sad to bring ourselves to that position.
Yeah, Dr. Foojan, you are a psychologist and you know better than me that when we are talking about not only killing, the fear of living in a society, the fear that you have for your children coming back home or not, the fear that you go out, you don't know if you come back, the fear you have constantly watch your back to see you're not even back, In the past, it was just somebody come behind you and kill you. But right now, you can just be in the daylight. Doesn't matter what time it. Sometimes they used to say to the kids, okay, if you go, later at evening out after 10 or something, be careful. But right now, you have to go to work. You cannot just stay home. You have to go to school. But we all are afraid of that. Now, with having said that, we are talking about the Second Amendment, which is very true that, the right to bear arms. First of all, that was really right, maybe for the time that our founding father had to say that was the right thing because of militia and other things, which we don't want to go in there. Right now, we don't really need that. Especially when our country is saturated with so many guns. Statistics shows, even 2-3 years ago, right now is more than that. We have in this country 310 million guns, registered guns, in civilian hands. Just forget about police officers, forget about army, we're talking about civilian hand and registered gun. So why do we need all these many guns? If it is for protection, each person, each family, which if they live in a places which is dangerous, maybe the wild animal would come in through, I understand that. I mean, I do understand. But when we have so many guns already, we are more than saturation. We have each person, if we divide by population, almost every single baby even, and people have one gun. Why do we need all these things? Now, what about our First Amendment? What about freedom to live? But the freedom that we have in First Amendment actually is being overshadowed by our Second Amendment, because people who rightfully can own a gun. Okay, but then what about other people which they don't want to have gun or they don't have it and they have to be killed or shot at or destroyed by another person? So we have to really see, and again, honestly, I don't want to go to laws and again about policies. This is not really my intention because our work is mostly for public health and looking at it that way. But again, if any law is for the safety and happiness of people. If any law is not good, we have to at least think about it. Go back and review it and see why we have to have that. If we have to change it, let's change it. Although I know so many people would be mad at me and would be angry, but honestly, my intention is to save people.
I think
that.
I think that a lot of people will agree with you and want that out. And there are a lot of people who want to protect the right to bear arms. And I think that's what the democracy is, of people having the choice to make that choice. And the ones who are hearing, and I think that to get the information, that they have the right to vote for whatever it is that they need to vote for and take care of themselves. Our job, or at least my job, is to bring the information from different sides so that people who are listening to be able to gain that information so they can choose in what to bring as the law and what to vote for as the law, and can have their opinion. But I think the information is important for them to have, or how are, you need to vote with an information, appropriate information. So I think that the research that are coming out, the analysis of the research, what you are working with what we see around the United States about, the safeties and everything, I think it's important for us to see, what are we creating for ourselves? Do we choose to create and live as if we're in a war zone every day, or we choose to have it that we feel safe by not having guns around? People say that they feel safe by having guns around. It just seems like the statistics is not necessarily accurate with that belief system, but that's the statistics. So, people have to see and look at the reality of statistics as they show up. And if they know this is going on and they still have a gun under their pillow and they feel safe with it, they're the one who are choosing. What you have done is to create a peace day.
Exactly. No,
so this is going to be your 24th annual Peace Day. That's
exactly. But since we didn't really talk about that anti-violence campaign, what our campaign does actually is none of these things that we speak about. We do want to, by educating and raising awareness, especially our focus is in children, and teaching them from the very young age the danger of gun, toy gun, violence, video games, anything which resembles or actually teaching our kids violence. This is what our intention have been with our campaign. With this campaign, which we have been having for 24 years, we have different components in this. First of all, we believe very strongly, if we want to teach the kids, if we want to change the culture of violence to culture of peace, which unfortunately we have, is we have to start with our children. The younger, the better. If we wanted to influence the learned response at only early age, as Gandhi says, if you want to have a true peace in this world, we have to start with our children. And I very much believe in that. So what we do, we have a holistic approach. By that, I mean that we do not only teach the kids and leave them alone in the society. We believe that we have to teach parents, we have to teach the teachers, we have to teach health, professionals, and the society and the politician and others, in order that our kid would learn everything right. So our campaign is made from different parts. One of them is going to as presentation and a workshop. We go to different schools, especially LAUSD have been our host for many, many years. So we go there, we have slide presentation and talk to parents and to the teachers. At the same time, we talk to the children in their own language, of course. And then when they learn what we are talking about, then we have one day called Peace Day. And in that Peace Day, we ask the children, willingly they bring their toy gun, toy weapon, violence, video game, anything which teach them violence, back to us in that event, which usually is not in the school, because we don't want to give these mixed messages to the kids, saying, okay, do not bring a toy gun in school, you can be kicked out, but next day bring your toy gun, we give you a certificate and t-shirt, for instance. So because of not giving a mixed message, we have these Peace Days, usually in parks, different schools or different groups, they would have it different places. In the last 24 years, we have had it from, San Jose in the Northern California to San Diego, and a lot, of course, in Los Angeles and Santa Barbara, you name it. And this is the other thing we do. We talk to the toy manufacturers and encourage them to do not make anything which is not suitable for kids, which teach them violence. We talk to politicians, trying to encourage them to, first of all, educate them and raise awareness, and to come up with the policy which is more, bring safety to the people. And then again, we have billboards that we have sometimes in a year when we have, funding for it. We simply say toy gun kill. And the reason we say toy gun kill, I would like your audience and people go to our website and look at that. It says iherc.org and see for themselves. We have something called a fact sheet about toy gun. And in that is pages and pages, and it's real story. This is the research we have done, that the kids, sometimes when they have guns, and they have guns at home, and they are allowed to touch toy gun, and sometimes the kids, even 2 years old, they have had toy gun in their hand, and police officer and gang members, other people did not realize the difference between the real gun, because it is a matter of a split of the second. The police officer has to decide, okay, should I shoot that or I'm going to be shot? So they have killed lots of kids, different ages, even adults, for having just $2 plastic toy gun in their hand. And then we have lots of kids which they have taken the parents' real gun and thinking that was a toy gun. And then they have shoot themselves, their mom, dad, sister, brother, and friend. And for, giving the statistic, they can go there and see for themselves. They have their names, their places, exactly what happened.
And not only, Dr. Kioumehr, not only because they have made a mistake that this is a toy gun, but I think that it has desensitized a lot of the children in thinking that they know how to handle a gun. So then knowing that this was their parents' gun, but because they were playing with the toy gun and they didn't see anything wrong with it, they didn't see the toy gun, shooting anybody, and thinking that they can handle it, they brought the gun and they either, destroyed themselves or somebody else. So it's also the concept of desensitization that these kids get playing with the gun, thinking this is a playful concept. They don't see it as a violence. They don't see it as harmful because it is given to them in the context of play. And that's where the desensitization shows up. That's why we also see in the video games of consistently being part of the being the shooter, where you're the active shooter, that you're going and you're kind of killing and going forward. I have personally had a lot of parents who come to my sessions talk about their kids after they do the game. They get so much rised up that then they go fight each other. Like they actually put it down and they stop punching each other because of the way that they're being trained with these video games and the anger and adrenaline that shoots up in their body. And now they get very, very hyped up. And after they put down the toy or the game, they don't know what to do with this emergence of emotions that show up, which is violent. And they now need to go after their siblings.
Exactly. This desensitization of part of it is something that we discuss every single time with parents, because they are desensitized not only because of the even video game and because of the toy gun, but because of all these television programming, which we have more in the world. They always show it in our news. Then they show it in our each program. Even we discussed the other day, even for the cartoon part of the kids play. So when they see all this violence and they are not having any peaceful time, honestly, the kids do not have in this time of age. The only thing they see in television, in movies, in news, in toy gun and violence video game, as you mentioned, they are even worse than the toy gun because they are part of that action. And then at the end, when they kill more innocent birds or beautiful deer, then they get even more score. So we are really teaching them to be more violent. I always say, when we give toy gun to our kids, honestly, what are we teaching them? We are teaching them aggression. And I believe any aggression toy or play is fueling and feeding these kids, really wanting to get, craving more for violence. So this is something that we have to address, and it's not a joke. And we have something for parents. I would like to refer them to in what parents can do. If you go iherc.org again. You can go and see not only not buy toy gun for your kids, also when your kids want to go to a friend's house, lots of time statistics show lots of them killed
Right.
or be shot at or injured. So as parents, when you want to send your kids there to see, do you have guns in your home? It is not, you don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be worried about it because this is your life of your child compared with.
Absolutely. It's your right to say that. Dr. Kioumehr, we need to go and come back. We're going to listen to some of our sponsors and be right back. And then we'd like to also now talk about the Peace Day and art instead of violence and all the ways that we could support this epidemic that is upon us in our country. So everyone, we'll be right back with Dr. Farideh Kioumehr, and I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine, and you're listening to Inner Voice.
Join the conversation every Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific for Inner Voice, Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Dr. Foojan has a direct approach to getting you to free your mind. Inner Voice is a live call-in show where you can chat about your life and all that matters to you in your relationships. Inner Voice, Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan, Monday afternoons at 3 p.m. Pacific on Smart Talk, KMET 1490 AM, and on the Internet stream.
Dr. Foojan Zeine is a psychotherapist, a marriage and family therapist, and a life coach with more than 27 years of experience. She is the author of the Awareness Integration Model, which has been researched and published in numerous international journals. Dr. Foojan has offices in Beverly Hills, Irvine, and Woodland Hills, California, and also consults online and by telephone. Make an appointment with her today by calling 818-648-2140 or go online to www.foojan.com. That's www.foojan.com.
Hello, listeners. This is Christopher from The Christopher Show. Hey, if you missed one of our shows here at KMET, don't worry about it. You can go to our webpage, and that's KMET1490am.com. Go to the homepage, click on the SoundCloud tab, and hear any show anytime you want.
Have you ever wished you could just wake up one day, reach across your nightstand, and hit the life reset button? Let's face it, the struggles and frustrations of everyday life leave millions of women and men around the globe yearning for a new way. And the new way is right here in Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want by Dr. Foojan Zeine. You can get it now at Foojan.com or Amazon.com. Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want. You deserve it.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Then you need the law offices of Aria Thadakar for your free case evaluation. Don't let the medical bills pile up, and don't let the insurance companies try to settle your claim for a few $100s. Call 714-464-3246. The law offices of Aria Thadakar serves all of California. If they don't win, you don't pay. So call now, 714-464-3246. This is a paid-for attorney advertisement by the law offices of Aria Thadakar of Orange, California.
Welcome back to Inner Voice Show. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine. I have Sean in studio, and I am talking to Dr. Farideh Kioumehr, who's a founder and executive director of the International Health and Epidemiology Research Center. Dr. Kioumehr, we've been talking about guns and the effect of guns on the society. And for 24 years, you and others have created this annual Peace Day. And we have another one coming up, which is Saturday, September 22nd from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's going to be in Orange County Great Park in 6950 Marin Way in Irvine, California. And you have a booth there, which is located in the Kids Village. And the cost is free for everyone to go. Can you talk a little bit about that, the Peace Day?
Yes. Uh, Peace Day is, as I mentioned earlier a little bit, after the kids being educated, then on Peace Day, they bring their toy gun, toy weapon, violence video game, whatever is teaching them violence. And it emphasizes in willing. They are willingly bring their toy gun or all this bad instrument, aggressive instrument, and give it to us. And not only that, then they have a big collage put there that they put and say no to, and they kids themselves put those instrument and the toy gun on this board which says say no to toy gun and toy weapon, violence video game, whatever. So this way, first of all, they're doing it willingly, which is very important, and why they're doing it is important. Our project is not toy gun exchange, and I keep saying it because exchange does not give anybody any education. They don't know why they're doing it. But we tell them, and they want to come and want to do it, not being forced. I ask parents, please don't tell them you have to bring it in. If they don't want it, they don't want it. Let them learn why they want to do that. When they come in and bring this thing in, they create that big collage piece of art, which is beautiful. People can go and see a few of them in our website. And
yes, there's a collection of art that if people go ahead and go to the website of iherc.org, and you'll go to the art section and you will see how people have created art out of these toy guns or guns that were no longer wanted to be utilized in the society, and how people can shift their aggression instead of shooting each other or even playing that they're shooting each other to creation of art and beauty. Go ahead.
Yes, actually, this Peace Day is for the kids to create these art pieces. And of course, before I forget, when the kids come in, we give them a certificate and they give them a T-shirt. The T-shirts also say, I have it here, but they can see it in the website too. The T-shirt says, say no to toy gun on toy weapon, and then have a sign of gun and slash on it and keep them from aggression with the hand like that. And if they don't have toy gun, they already, because sometimes they come every year. So some kids are so cute, they come and say, no, I don't have any toy gun, or I don't have my violence video game. Remember I gave it to you a few years ago? And I said, I don't remember it. I said, of course I do. So they said, we don't buy it anymore, we don't have it. What am I going to do now? So we asked them to draw or write something peaceful. And even then, not only talk about gun, toy gun, and all this, we talk about equality in our, something that the kids create and draw. We teach them, meanwhile, the equality, the embracing the differences. And I believe that we have to embrace our differences rather than just tolerating. It's very important for me, because we have to really, from our heart, wants to do that. So they draw and make something beautiful and teach them the equality between women and men, boys and girls, and justice, everything. So in this would be educational as well. The parents would get educational material, which we have created in different languages, in English, is in Spanish, in Armenian, Persian, and Korean. And so it would be a good day, not only a good day, they would come. And then our old art pieces created with artists before is in display in that day, not the whole thing, but the market of them. But one area we forgot, and you mentioned in our campaign, is called Replacing Violence with Art.
Yes.
These last 24 years, we have collected maybe 40,000 toy guns from all the kids from different years, from different places. One day I was in the radio talking, and somebody said, you got so many toy guns, what are you doing with it? And I said, I don't know. At the beginning, the first year, I threw it in a trash can, but I don't like it because it's waste, and I don't like the waste, and people can
pick it up again, yeah.
Yeah, and it would be really bad, but because I had so many, I couldn't possibly bring it to the car and bring it home. So one by one, the beautiful, nice artists joined us, and now they have created more than 55. Not all of them are in the website, but majority of are in it. So beautiful art pieces. The only thing I ask artists to do, I said, please just create something with some messages, be peaceful messages, anti-war message, anti-gun message. But these messages right now, these art pieces, when you look at them, I don't know if they are showing it or not.
Yes, yes, Sean graciously showed some of them. And for people who are not watching us through the live stream and they are listening to us through the radio, please go to the website, which is iherc.org, and look at these beautiful art pieces.
And these art pieces not only would be there, they have been in different places. The city of Irvine invited us a few years ago and came and took all our art pieces, and they showcased it in their corridors in the city hall for months and a half. LA Children Museum, we don't have it any longer, but they had it there for 3 months. And then different galleries would show it. So this art is going to be also educational for people when they go and they this is from Foojan, collected from the kids and turned to the art. This is also educational.
Yes. So one of the things too, I've heard this a lot. So on our last minute, I really want to also share this with people where I've heard from many of the parents who were worried about, well, if I don't teach my child to take care of themselves and also be able to use violence if violence was used upon them as a self-defense, and many people say that they want the guns because of self-defense, then my child will not be able to take care of themselves. However, I've also noticed that in our therapy sessions and family therapy sessions, where we've actually taught them in how to teach their children to set boundaries firmly, appropriately, and go get someone who has more authority, such as if they're school, go get the principals. If they are in the family settings, go get the parents. If they are in the streets, go get the police. So one way or another to go do that their children have been able to create that type of a boundary without actually adhering and going into violence. So I want to thank you, Dr. Kioumehr. It's a beautiful thing that you're doing. For everyone who's listening, please go to iherc.org and please join everyone who's out there who really wants peace in their life and in their society. Join them in Peace Day, Saturday, September 22nd, 2018, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Orange County Great Park in 6950 Marin Way in Irvine. And if you don't remember everything I'm telling you, just remember this, iherc.org. Thank you, Dr. Kioumehr, for being with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I really enjoy your show.
Wonderful. And hopefully with new projects, you'll join our show and let everyone know how to join you for a peace day and a life of peace. Thank you, Sean. Yes. Thank you, Sean, for all that you do for us and everyone who's with us. Until next week, create an amazing life for yourself and a peaceful one. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
The Inner Voice Show is a dialogue between the host and the listeners about their relationships. This show is not an attempt to assess, diagnose, or treat any mental health or illness condition. Please consult your physician, psychiatrist, or psychotherapist for personal matters.
This is 1490 AM KMET, Banning, Beaumont, Redlands, and Palm Springs. News, talk, sports.
From ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. A high-stakes trial involving President Trump's former campaign chair will resume tomorrow.
Still no verdict in Paul Manafort's federal trial. The jury deliberating much later than usual, but still not coming to a decision. It's their third day deliberating. Manafort faces 18 counts of bank and tax fraud. President Trump has called the entire trial sad. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
The charges Manafort faces are not related to the campaign. The president hosting a White House event today to honor Border Patrol and immigration agents.
America is a land of opportunity because we are a nation of laws. For America to be a strong nation, we must have